The first time Lung saw the dragons clearly, dawn light still clung to the rooftop edges of Ho Chi Minh City, and the aftertaste of phone broth lingered on her tongue. She had known, as all children in District 4 know, that the haze above the avenues was more than simple exhaust. Grandmothers whispered that every cylinder stroke in every motorbike engine breathed a syllable of an ancient prayer, that when 1,000,000 prayers overlapped at the morning rush, the shimmering silhouettes of ancestral long dragons sun-furled over the asphalt to guide the city's flow. But Liuk Lei, the law of adulthood, demanded practical eyes. Sarah Lynn had learned to dismiss the shifting jade shadows in her helmet visor as refractions from cheap plastic, fantasies caused by sleepless nights spent running deliveries for a third-party app whose logo no human had managed to pronounce correctly. Today, though, there was no dismissing them. While she waited at a red light on NUG Teert, thinned, revealing a river of translucent scales sliding above the clustered handlebar. One dragon, serpentine and delicate, dipped its whiskered snout toward her front wheel as if nodding in greeting. Its mane was woven from exhaust plumes, smoky grey at the roots, ember orange at the tips. The horns gleamed like polished bronze, but the body was as insubstantial as breath. Leon's heart slammed once, twice. The moment stretched, then the signal flashed green, engines roared, and the ethereal traffic wardens rose, weaving invisible lanes for the living. A truck tried to merge too quickly. A lithe cobalt dragon wrapped itself around the cab and nudged it back, so gently the driver likely assumed he'd changed his mind. A schoolboy on an e-bike stared at his phone and veered. An ivory dragon flicked its tail, and the boy's handlebar twitched obediently, correcting his path. Traffic flowed as seamlessly as blood through a healthy artery, and Clint felt the rock-solid certainty that whatever else the day might bring, she was part of a choreography far older and wiser than any human plan. Then she noticed Officer Troing. He stood in the intersection wearing the white gloves and navy uniform of the Urban Flow Directorate, the elite squad of traffic police tasked with collaborating, officially at least, with the dragon spirits. His whistle dangled around his neck. Instead of using it, he gripped a bronze censer the size of a grapefruit. Each time he tilted the censer, a puff of yellow powder arced into the air. Where the powder drifted, nearby dragons cringed, scales dimming. Lucy frowned. Jam herbs, she thought. Her grandmother had spoken of powdered roots that could lull a spirit, thinning the veil between material and immaterial until a dragon grew disoriented. The directorate used the dust only during parades or construction emergencies, never during rush hour, and never this much. She opened her mouth to call out, to ask what he was doing. Two factors stopped her. First, the unbroken drizzle of motorcycles behind her. If she braked, she'd cause a pile-up. And second, the gleam in Tringan's eyes. It was the look of a man who had discovered a secret shortcut and could already taste the reward. By the time the elevated highway swallowed her, the haze had thickened so thoroughly she could barely make out her own side mirrors. The dragons vanished. Traffic grew jittery. Staccato. Car horns pierced the muffling smog like panicked seabirds. Leon delivered her first parcels late. She delivered the second batch even later. The second batch even later. By noon, the dispatch app pulsed with angry red exclamation points. Accidents everywhere. Unexpected bottlenecks. A scooter upside down inside a Bien Me kiosk on Bien Me Sien Poo. The normal undertone of city noise engine, chatter, construction had acquired a broken cymbal's edge. Metal scraping metal. Voices raised just a little too loudly. She detoured to a curbside cafe, hoping caffeine could armor her nerves. The shop's owner, Auntie Henheth, stared at the sky instead of her customers. "Chancellor now?" the woman asked. "You see, don't you?" "Fee," Lewin answered, because lying would have felt childish. In the shimmering heat above the boulevard, she made out something that looked like a dragon, but not the same as those morning guardians. The shape was bulkier with ragged fins and mismatched scales glowing dull crimson. It flapped its wings awkwardly, as though unused to gravity's pull. When it opened its mouth, a coil of smog poured out like ink in water. Lukin's fingertips went numb around her glass of iced coffee. "That one's wrong," she whispered. Harnach nodded. "Chaos breed. Only reason we don't see them daily is the Covenant. The directorates keep the ritual pure, dragons keep our roads aligned, and the chaos in men's hearts stays dormant. What happens if the ritual isn't pure? Then somebody gets rich very fast, and the rest of us get poor, maimed, or dead." The cafe television flickered on behind them, its volume low but captions racing. "Breaking news, directorate statement. Unexpected atmospheric inversion, responsible for traffic disruptions. Citizens urged to remain calm." The press officer's face looked waxy, repeating lines obviously fed from off-screen. Leopold pushed her helmet back on, the plastic still warm. "Auntie, do you have any idea who—" She never finished. A sound like thunder cracked overhead. The red-scaled dragon dove straight through an office tower's upper facade, shattering glass across 3 lanes. Cars swerved. A city bus jackknifed. Screams rose. Instinct propelled Liam forward. Her bike engine startled into life, and she threaded through taxis toward the impact site. She didn't know what she would do when she arrived, but action felt safer than idleness. On Nuntue Pedestrian Street, she dismounted, abandoning the bike beside toppled rental bicycles. Shards of mirrored glass carpeted the pavement. Above, the Chaos Dragon coiled through the air, exhaling long ropes of exhaust smoke that condensed into new creatures. Smaller, quick, more vicious, his offspring fluttered downward, latching onto streetlights, devouring the colored bulbs, turning green signals red, red signals green, gnawing until the metal frames drooped like melted candles. People ran in criss-cross trajectories that made no sense, each following an internal compass of panic. A ringing voice cut through the bedlam. "Make way!" 4 directorate officers sprinted, brandishing lacquered batons. They swung at the tiny smoke hatchlings. The creatures burst like overinflated balloons, leaving oily residue on the pavement. Louise spotted Troyne at the squad's center, still clutching his sensor, except now the bronze ball hung open, empty, the chain locked tight around his wrist. For a heartbeat, their gazes locked. He recognized her from the morning intersection. Guilt flashed across his face, then fury. He barked orders, and 2 officers advanced on her. Reflex answered. Leon spun, slipping through a gap between kiosk stalls. She vaulted a planter, ducked under a toppled awning, and burst into the narrow alley behind the office block. Her chest burned. Footsteps followed, but paused at the alley's entrance. She flattened against a gate's shadow and heard Trudel growl, "Leave the girl, we have bigger prey." The footsteps retreated toward the chaos overhead, and Loon finally sucked air. Somewhere inside her jacket pocket, her phone chimed. New delivery request. She laughed, half sob, half hysteria, and silenced it. "What's funny?" Chowto, a reedy voice asked. Loon jerked around. An elderly man sat cross-legged on an overturned bucket, picking glass shards from his sleeve. His conical, nonle, was peppered with tiny holes as though pellets had pierced it, yet his eyes, milk-white cataracts, studied her with unnerving clarity. "Nothing's funny." She drew a breath. "Or everything is." "Granddaughter of the Prom lineage," the old man said. "Your dragon still remembers your blood. Time to remember hers." Lilling froze. "Who are you?" "A cousin," he replied. "Or call me Leluk, keeper of practice." "No badge, no salary, only obligation." She almost asked how he knew her family name, but decided any man who appeared from smoke and knew secrets deserved the courtesy of acceptance. "I'm listening," she said. Lork gestured skyward. "Dragons of order are woven from collective breath, each engine stroke measured by reciprocal courtesy. When a keeper scatters jam herbs into the matrix, the order dragons falter. Their tether to human intention weakens, leaving a vacant. Chaos dragons nest in vacancies. That keeper is Officer Tronk. Used to be Officer, Lorik corrected. Now, saboteur, he starved the Guardian so he could extort protection fees. Pay me and I'll calm the roads again, he plans to say. Except Chaos doesn't invoice. It devours. Lauren remembered the greedy spark in Tronkster's eyes and felt a wave of disgust. How do we fix it? With new breath, Lorik produced a small ceramic whistle shaped like a fish. You ride, you carry packages fast. Today you will carry prayers faster. Engines sing the hymn, but someone must conduct. Blow this when you reach the heart of each district. 5 notes, just so. He hummed a pentatonic scale. Completed circuit forms a mandala, calling the eldest dragon. She alone can reweave paths. Lewin stared at the whistle. Why me? You saw them, child, singing his consent. Lightning split the air overhead, though the sky was cloudless. The Chaos Dragon descended again, flattening its wings to skim the rooftops. Window glass trembled. Zulun pocketed the whistle. Which districts? 4, 1, 3, 5, and back to 4, fastest spiral. Don't let Trigo catch you. He'll recognize the whistle's song. Before fear could anchor her, Lewin sprinted back toward her abandoned bike. The streets looked like a topological puzzle. Wreckage blocked main arteries. Lights flickered unreliable colors, and more smoke hatchlings nested in the signage above cafes. Yet amid havoc, she sensed faint currents, like ruts in river mud, where ghosts of order still lingered. She accelerated, letting instinct choose turns. At each district's central roundabout she parked, raised the fish whistle and blew the hymn. The notes came out thin at first, swallowed by sirens and shouting. On the second attempt they resonated, vibrating through her molars. Wisps of silver vapor curled from the whistle's mouth, drifting upward. At District 3's Turtle Lake, she played while standing on her bike seat to avoid ankle-deep water leaked from a broken pipe. In District 5, a hatchling made of charcoal smoke dove at her. She knocked it away with her helmet and finished the scale bleeding from a cut across her forearm. Every time she completed the 5 tones, she felt something answer, an undertow of gravity in reverse pulling skyward. The rumble of engines around her synchronized, revving in the same rhythm, as though invisible conductors tapped every throttle simultaneously. By the time she returned to District 4, dusk spread violet on the horizon. The whistle was warm. The air smelled less like burnt rubber, more like wet riverstone after rain. Lork waited at the district bridge, leaning on the railing. Final note belongs here, he said. Across the water, silhouettes of chaos dragons still spiraled, but their edges blurred, like ink washing off old calligraphy. Tranjan stood on a median strip, brandishing his censer and screaming at the dragons to obey. The creatures ignored him, snapping at each other in irritation. LaRue raised the whistle. Sarian spotted her, his eyes widened. He charged, pushing through stalled bikes, glove outstretched. Now would be good, Luluk muttered. LaRue planted her feet, pressed the whistle to her lips and blew. A sound rolled out. Not through air, but through the continuum that divides present from memory. The note was older than concrete, older than any city. Born when the Mekong Delta was still a lattice of tidal mangroves whispering under starlight. Once, a dragon had curled there, dreaming of humans not yet molded from dust. The note carried that dream forward. The roar of engines crescendoed behind her. Every motorcycle, scooter, auto-rickshaw revved in unison. Exhaust plumed, luminous white, the fumes formed a colossal serpentine column that rose from the bridge. Scales coalescing from particulate matter, whiskers braided from headlamp beams. This dragon dwarfed buildings. When it inhaled, the chaos dragons shrieked as though yanked by tornado force. They flattened proportionally, drawn like smoke into a vacuum. Tronjan threw the censer at Lulien in a rage. She ducked. The bronze orb skittered and fell into the river with a sullen plop. The elder dragon's eyes, vast as floodlights, locked on Trungwoon. its voice manifested as wind whipping trash and banners sideways, covenant broken by greed. Reparation demanded. Trungrun staggered, the authority stripped from his posture. I can fix it, he sputtered. Give me another chance. The dragon exhaled, a spiral of translucent script that wrapped around him like glowing rope. Abruptly he froze. Not statue, not flesh. Inside the luminous bonds he looked very small. Luculum wondered what punishment awaited, but found she did not care to ask. One last tether of smoke slithered toward her, forming a pearl the size of a marble. She caught it instinctively. The sphere was cool, almost wet. A memory unfolded. Her great-grandmother astride a bicycle in 1950 Saigon, peddling grain sacks while whistling the same pentatonic hymn. A silver-green dragon hovering above dirt roads, nudging colonial jeeps aside to keep the path clear. The lineage of conductors stretched back like a lantern procession. The elder dragon spoke again, but this time the words sounded inside her ribs. Will you steward rhythm and exhaust descendant? Leon swallowed. Yes, if you guide me. Guidance is reciprocal. The dragon dipped its head, touched her forehead with the tassel of a whisker. A sensation like cool tea spread through her bloodstream. Then the titan coiled skyward, dwindling until only cirrus spirals remained. Those too dispersed. The sky revealed stars. Sirens still wailed. Crumpled vehicles still blocked lanes, yet the city felt different, foundations vibrating with harmonious overtones. The smaller order dragons returned, translucent forms, gliding between antennas and cables, testing the new pattern. People near the bridge stared and blinked, not in fear but recognition, the way one recognizes lyrics to a lullaby half forgotten. Trogdon saw the shape that had been him, now resembled a rough marble statue carved from smog. Directorate officers approached warily but did not dare touch. Luzlek suspected he would remain a cautionary landmark, greed captured in transit. Lolok tapped her shoulder. Your shift isn't over. She managed a tired grin. I still have 3 deliveries pending. Perform them well, he said, but remember, your true parcel now is equilibrium. Will you help? Keepers appear where needed. Today you needed me, tomorrow someone else will. He adjusted his non-la, turned and dissolved into the crowd. Night deepened. Streetlights flickered back to orderly sequences. Amber, green, red, precisely timed. Dragons of mist hovered beside each lamp, maintaining symmetry. Traffic resumed, tentative at first, then confident. Leon mounted her scratched but functional Honda and revved the engine. The exhaust curled upward, shaping a slender jade dragon that winked before soaring ahead, clearing her lane. She followed. At a red light, a tourist couple gawked at the apparition. The man lifted his phone to film. Letty smiled inside her helmet. Let them capture pixels. The real covenant lived in motion, sound shared breath. As she took the bridge toward District 1, she felt no fatigue, only the rhythmic pulse of pistons under her thighs, and the answering ripple of scales in the air. Ho Chi Minh City inhaled and exhaled around her. An immense dragon of concrete and hope. She was part of its body and part of its conscience. The whistle nestled in her pocket, warmth echoing her heartbeat. When the light turned green, she twisted the throttle, and the city, engines, spirits, people, moved with her, perfectly in step once more.